You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Scottish Football Show Extra right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. We've got a Kilbirnie special in this week's episode. We're delighted to be joined by one of the co-managers, one half of the best duo in football, Tommy Molloy. Tommy, it's a pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thanks for joining us.
Mate, delighted to be on, Scott.
Brilliant, it's a pleasure. And we're also joined by one of the star players of Kilbirnie, John Scullion. John, it's a pleasure to welcome you on. Thanks for being part of this show.
No worries, man. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you both on. Been looking forward to this for a while. How are we, Tommy? How you settling into the new job? Obviously, you came a bit late in the season compared to a lot of our managers. How's it been settling into life at Kilbirnie?
It's been good, obviously. Results-wise, could be a lot better, but listen, we're loving it, honestly. It's a right good group of boys, committee, fans, everything. I think I was saying to somebody, probably after we were in a job about a week, Scott, it may even have been Sean or one of my mates or whatever. And what a club it is, by the way. No. Brilliant. Just everything about it, and it's exactly the way I want a club ran from top to bottom. And I'm sure Scullion will agree. He's been there longer than me. It's a right proper football club as well. But we're obviously a right on the pitch just now in a right battle to keep the team in the league where they should always be, Kilbirnie. So listen, we're getting at everything we've got, and hopefully it's enough coming into the season.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just run through the season so far. You're sitting 18, 3 wins, 2 draws, 13 defeats, and 11 points. Obviously, the kind of start, the wee run at the start was probably a kind of big reason for that position. John, 8 game losing streak to start the season. It's obviously Martin was a manager, and then obviously things happened, and Tommy and Sean have come in. What was the start of the season like? Was it tough to get out of that kind of funk of losing the first 8 games?
Aye. When you're losing the first couple, it starts to become harder, and things seem to go against you when you're on a streak like that, and it's just no easy to get out of. I don't think it was down to effort, or I just think what things were going against you, especially when you're losing. You seem to find that things go against you, but it wasn't easy to start with. No, definitely not.
Tommy, obviously you come in after, I think it was 5 games, wasn't it? Like, what was it? Was it an easy decision to take the job, and how did when did you first hear the possibility of going to Kilbirnie was an option?
I think it was after 5. I think we came in probably about a 9 or 10 mark game, but it was a kind of approach to Greenock for permission to speak to myself and Sean. It was a no-brainer to go down and speak to the club. Obviously, went down for a chat/stroke interview on a Sunday, and then we never really heard nothing for a week. The club was obviously doing what they felt was right and taking their time to appoint who they felt was the right people, and we got a phone call probably just over a week later offering us a job. So listen, it wasn't as easy as people thought to leave. You know, we had a good connection and stuff here, but I've always said to anybody I've spoke to, there would have been something we regretted for the rest of our days if we never gave it a bash.
No, definitely. John, obviously that we kind of streak to start the season. Obviously Martin left as well. Was it sad to see Martin go? Obviously he'd kind of been there a while. How did you kind of go on well with Martin?
I know he was a good guy. Him and Des and his brother Jig came in as well. They were all brilliant people in that, and they'd been there obviously through the hard times that we had with COVID, and it was just a shame that we couldn't get a couple of wins and get something going, but that's just football sometimes, and it's just the way it goes, unfortunately. And they obviously had to leave, and that was what it was.
Tommy, when you went in, and obviously how big was it to get a kind of couple of wins in the board? Obviously the win against Bonnet and Rutherglen, they were 2 massive wins, and the draw with Blantyre. How important was it to get the wins in the board and get a wee kind of run going?
I wasn't part of it when they beat Blantyre, they drew with Blantyre or beat Bonneton. Our first game was actually Scottish Cup away to Colburn. It was probably a wee bit strange that we'd never met the players until we went in and met at 1:45 that day. So it's not ideal, do you know what I mean? But we agreed when we took the job that we wanted right into the deep end. The following week was obviously our first league game at home to Rutherglen. We won 2-1, played well on the day, and the place was bouncing at the end as well, because probably, without being disrespectful, what happened in previous games, I think the punters weren't used to seeing the team kind of winning. So we got off to a good start, and then games since that, Scott, probably I hate using the word unlucky, but we went to Darvel and lost a goal in injury time. Up at Kilbirnie in the league, we lost a goal in the 97th minute, finished a draw. Other games have all been tight. The game we did let ourselves down was Irvine Meadows, Scully at home. I thought we just weren't at it whatsoever, and that was the only day that I probably went home thinking that's not the way we want us to happen. If we're going to lose games, there's the right way. And other than that, we've been in games and stuff, but it's all right saying that, we eventually need to start getting points on the board again.
Yeah, definitely. John, obviously the wins against Bonnet and Rutherglen and kind of the point against Blantyre, they are kind of clubs in a similar kind of position, obviously. How big is it to get the wins against the types of teams and kind of build that wee run?
God, the old cliche answer, mind you, but you need to be trying to beat the teams that are running about you in it. So, it's obviously a good feeling. I mean, to beat these teams and then hopefully you start seeing yourself climbing the table a wee bit or whatever, that's what you want to see. And it gets a bit of confidence amongst the boys and all. Yeah,
definitely. Tommy, the big win this season's obviously been the 9-0 win against Ardee in the South. That was a massive result, and we've seen how well Ardee have done. Obviously, they beat Troon during the weekend in the Kilbirnie Cup. So it's obviously they're obviously a team that's doing really well. How big a boost was that to get the win and obviously the amount of goals you scored that day?
No, it was good. I'd obviously had experience out there when that game came about. We played them at Greenock 3 weeks before it, so they were still fresh in our mind of how they played and stuff. I think everything clicked on that day. Probably you could argue if you went and watched it as a neutral, there was a gap between our league and the Conference League. I just think on that day that everything clicked. The wee man was absolutely flying, but it probably, without being disrespectful to Ardee, I would fully expect Colburn to be winning games like that, but a margin, probably scoreline would have been, it surprised everybody, including myself, to be honest with you. So we'll obviously won the last round of that cup against Port Glasgow, and we're still in. We've got a tough draw in the next round as well.
We'll touch on that later on. It's obviously a cup you're doing really well in. John, how big a game was that for you? Obviously, that was a really big game for you, scoring a few goals that day. Was that just a big confidence boost for you?
Of course, it was got a few goals, which is always nice as a striker, because I don't come past there. I don't get many. I know, know what I mean? They're drying up a bit, which is unfortunate. But, it was good. Got a few assists that day, and I'll fling that in for Big Josh. Big man got a hat trick to set it off. Know what I mean?
In this tournament, Josh has scored a hat trick and been sent off.
So, it's a good.
Aye.
Brilliant. See, obviously back to the league, obviously lost against Bees, and as you said, the late goal against Darvel. You come back really well. A big win against Lags. That was a massive win, obviously, in the league, 3-1. How big a win was that, Tommy, to get that win against a team again, Lags, who probably not started as well as folk thought they would? Was that a big boost to you? It
was huge. See if somebody was at that game and probably said that Kilbirnie would win this game 3-1 after 20 minutes, they would have got laughed at. So I'm standing at the side thinking, what is going on here? But Scully will obviously back us up. He was there. We made 2 subs after 25 minutes, and it was going to either make us look silly or work. And after 2 minutes, one of them would set a goal, 5 minutes later he'd scored. So, no, just to answer your question, it was a big one. I know that game kind of means quite a lot to people as well. And as Scully touched on a minute ago, the team's on about us, it's probably going to define if we stay up or not, we win these games. Obviously, we spoke at training last night, and after Saturday's game, November's absolutely massive for us. Playing teams round about bottom half of the table.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you've got a few games against kind of teams in a similar position coming up later on in the season. John, obviously the last few games in the league, obviously Meadow, Buffs, Paul. I was at the Buffs game that night, and they're obviously difficult results, and they're obviously three teams who are kind of flying at the top half of the league. Is it kind of tough playing against these types of teams at the moment with your kind of low in confidence and kind of results only going your way?
I didn't think we went into the games thinking we couldn't get into it either, mind you, even though maybe the league, where we are in the league or league position and whatever, I still felt that we can go into these games and get something always. But when you come up against quality teams with good players, they can always produce wee bits of magic. And I thought, especially the co-winning game, that I thought we were quite unlucky at times. And don't get us wrong, I thought co-winning done well as well, and I thought it was a good game overall. But I just think sometimes football's very small margins, and I think these games can go against you at times when you've got quality players like whoever it is, even Carlo Monte or whatever, whoever it is for co-winning, and they can produce wee moments, and I think that's how football goes sometimes.
Tommy, what about those 3 games? Were they games you felt you were unlucky, or was there kind of maybe more to it?
I think box to box we kind of competed with teams, but inside both boxes in them games, Scott, I felt we let ourselves down. If that was we're finishing or defensively, we're competing with these teams. But I think what I've learned coming into this league as a manager is, against them teams, you're only getting 2 or 3 chances max a game, and you eventually need to take one of them. We played Pollock on Saturday. I think we had 2 really good chances. You don't take them. They had 2 chances and they take them, which has proven the difference in these games. But probably where I've come from Greenock, you're used to getting half a dozen and more chances a game in this league. You're probably getting 2, John, a game, and you eventually you've got to take your chances. And I just felt, listen, that's 3 good teams we've played. And as we've asked the boys today, is just go toe to toe with them and you'll get your break. But if I'm being honest, we've let ourselves down in big moments against them teams, and they've been more clinical than we have.
Yeah. John, obviously the one highlight of the season has been your run in the south of Scotland. Obviously the one against Aberdeen, and then the impressive one against Port Glasgow. Wasn't it the best one for you, was it?
No, do you know what? It was, as long as the team win, it's a good game. That's what matters. But I know we've been doing well in that cup, and I thought we done the first half an hour. I thought we were really good against the Port. Came out really well, and it's something that I think the team need to push on and do more as, maybe start games a wee bit better. I thought on that day we were very good. Yeah.
Tommy, obviously that's a big cup to be a part of. The Scottish is maybe a bit of a disappointment, but again, obviously you can maybe put that down to maybe a couple of things. How big is it to get a run in the south?
It's massive. If you're talking about comparing that to the Scottish, the South's got more teams in it than the Scottish has this year. So I'm not saying it's a bigger cup, but there's different teams that we're not used to playing in it as well. And we've got a home tie next round against a low league team who are quite well known now. So it's one we're looking forward to, obviously. Again, old cliche, Leeds were bread and butter and stuff. But I say to players that, and people will probably snigger at us, but every cup Kilbirnie should be entered. They should be looking to reach the later stages, no matter who we come up against. So I think it's the last 64 against Caledonian Braves, and if you can get through that, then you're not a million miles away from big cup ties.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really good cup to be a part of. John, obviously, before we talk about your careers, just a quick one for both of you. How good has it been to get back to a normal schedule? We know it's been a bit stop-start with COVID. Obviously, Kilbirnie weren't part of the league last year. How good's it been to be back to a normal schedule and get back to playing football in front of a crowd?
Oh, brilliant, man. You can't beat it. You don't actually realise how much you miss it until something like that happens. I couldn't believe it. Even, it sounds silly because it's obviously no thousands and thousands of people that come to watch you, but see when you were playing a couple of games and it's just like the boys at football that are there, there's no crowd or nothing. It's just, this year's been so much better. You can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah, definitely. Tommy, you found that yourself, obviously, the difference in how well it's been to have the crowd back to a normal schedule?
It's been massive. Obviously, Greenock kept playing when I was there during this, and for the management side, I think a big thing for me was the dressing rooms. The crowd's the most important, but the dressing rooms as well. You know, Greenock doesn't get the best of weather. We were getting boys changed in a stand, getting a team talk in a stand that felt a bit false. But for me, crowds, especially like a club at Kilbirnie, it probably players get that extra 10% when the place is half full. There's nobody there watching really.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to have everything back to normal. And Tommy, obviously, before we touch on your career and things like that, this season is a funny one. Obviously, we know it's 20 teams and 7 go down. Do you think this season, well, it's kind of not going to reflect? Obviously, you've come in a bit later, and you obviously you want to bring your kind of own players in and things like that. Do you think this season's going to be a bit of a kind of learning curve and obviously build towards kind of next year?
Are you asking me if I can accept us getting relegated?
No, what I'm saying is obviously is the focus kind of just about staying up now? Is it? It's obviously like next you want to bring your own players in, obviously, but is it more about just getting the club stable and obviously beating the drop?
Listen, there's 20 games left, Scott. That would usually be fucking well over half a season in normal times. Do you know what I mean? So we've still got a chance. I says to players at training last night, once I stop believing that, I'll be first to let them know, and then we will start preparing for next season. I genuinely think that with backing we've got for fans on Saturday, the players we've got, listen, I can't speak more highly of the committee since I've come in, Gordon and the rest of them. They've done everything we've asked, but we're knocking our head against a wall at times to try to get players in. And I think, if I'm being honest as I can be, I think the reason players only come in is because people they're already saying you're already doing. I don't think that, but it's probably a player's instinct that why would I go there and they're already relegated and stuff. But no, look, we've not even thought about next season, to be honest with you. It's only November. Do you know what I mean? I'm not daft. I know that we eventually need to get points on the board, but there's no way that any of our management team have had a conversation thinking if we get doing this, if we get doing that. No, it's we're focusing and November's massive for us. Massive.
Yeah, definitely. John, what's it been like? Obviously, been Tommy and Sean at the club now. How much? What have they kind of improved, and how much you kind of looking forward to the future with them?
No, of course, man. They've been brilliant since I came in. I mean, they've been at trainings, man. Brilliant enthusiasm. Training's brilliant. Everybody, you can tell there's a buzz about the place again. You can feel it right away as soon as they come in. Even the first game, even though they hadn't met us, you could feel it going into that game. And unfortunately, didn't get the result in the first game, but I could definitely feel something different. There was a bit of more belief about the boys, definitely.
Brilliant. We'll talk about your careers. Obviously, the two of you have been in football for a good few years. Tommy, what was your kind of highlights of your early days of your career?
So I went full time with Morton right for school basically. YTS, don't even think that's a thing anymore, to be honest. And then I don't know if you remember Morton getting into kind of administration.
I don't remember it. I know.
So I wasn't part of it. I was at the club at that time, so the whole club get basically sacked or paid off, whatever you want to call it. And I was lucky that I got a phone call that night when we all get released basically for Campbell Money Air. Campbell asked me to get in there play a game the next day against Wigan, 19s or 18s, whatever, and signed me. So I got a year doing it Air, made my first team debut, and probably got offered another year pro, and probably my attitude and stuff wasn't the best, Scott, to be honest. Probably like thousands of boys in this country that could say they could have done this or done that. It was just my attitude at the time wasn't great, and fell out it for a while and went junior down here with Greenock, and moved to Largs for a few years.
And what was your kind of, obviously your days at junior as well? There must have been kind of good days playing with Largs, and obviously your kind of club at Greenock. You kind of grew obviously quite close to the guys at Greenock for a while, didn't you?
Aye, so at Greenock when I went in there, I went in kind of with blinkers on to junior fit, but I didn't know much about it. But I remember my debut for Greenock fight. It was against Rutherglen, funny enough, away from home at their old park. And now guy, it was an older striker. He obviously seen me coming, elbow, and he had 9 stitches. I got 5 minutes into my junior debut, so that was a case of welcome to junior football. But Greenock was good at that time. We had a really good side. And I went down to Largs for a few years. We won the old Ayrshire District League, and then won a Super First as well. So Largs was good. Nearly the whole team was for Greenock actually at that point. Stopped playing probably at Largs in my early 30s, and then the coaching stuff that I'm sure you're going to go into came a bit later.
Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on your coaching career in a few minutes. John, we'll come to you as well. Obviously, you kind of started at Morton. What was your kind of memories of your days there, and who was some of the good players that were there as well?
The first year, it was the year after Morton had get relegated for the championship, and obviously a club like Morton are wanting to push back up, and luckily enough, well, I'm saying luckily enough, we deserved it over the year. We did win the league. I had a bad injury, I think, around about the December, but I managed to get back in the squads roughly at the time. Just, I think, maybe end of March, beginning of April, something like that, I think. Started getting back in the squads, and obviously they run up to winning the league, which was, I think we needed to win something like 6 out of the last 7 games or something. I think we done it, and it was obviously brilliant achievement, and to get the club back up to the championship was good, man. But talking about players, you look at the likes of Michael Tidser and Peter McDonald that have been doing it for years now, and obviously Peter's retired now, I think now, but players like that, and Ross Forbes, it's got a wonder left foot.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
some good days, obviously, that Morton when you on the championship, obviously, as well. Like Jim Duffy was there. How good was Jim Duffy? And obviously, what was must be a couple of good stories for your time there.
I know he was brilliant. As good as he was a manager, he was an even better guy, to be honest with you. Him and his assistant Hadji, he was brilliant and all. And obviously they'd brought in Andy Millen as the under-20s gaffer at the time, and I played a lot, obviously, just if I hadn't been playing with the first team or whatever with Andy, and everything was brilliant, man. There was some brilliant times at Morton, definitely.
Brilliant. Tommy, was it always a plan to go into coaching after you'd finished playing?
No, honestly, it never even crossed my mind. I actually, first ever time I actually took a team or helped a team was my boys' under 4s team. Get roped into it. Usually you go and watch one week and then somebody says, "Why give him a hand?" and bedlam, taking them for training, and you turn your back and getting hit with a ball in the back of your head, and I'm like, that's not for me. So the first time I ever done anything kind of at a decent level was at Gourock Amateurs. It was my pals who were playing. I don't know if you know it. You did know the amateur game, sorry, Scott. So it's the Central League there, in which is quite strong. Helped my mates out and again get a bug for it, and we were quite successful. We went on and won the league in our second season there, and that's when Greenock kind of approached us to get down there and take over. So that's how I can get into it. But no, there was never a time that I thought want to go and manage at this level or that level. No, to be honest with you.
Obviously, you kind of Sean, you kind of get close with Sean as well. You've kind of known Sean for many years. Yep. What is it about you that work so well together?
So I've known Sean. Sean's one of my brother's best pals, and I'm friendly with him as well. And we're in the same school. Just I think we work. To be honest, somebody says I was obviously a manager at Greenock and he was the assistant, but we always said if we went anywhere we would do it together. That was a lot from my side, a loyalty to Sean as well, because he wanted to be his own man at one point. So what is the point of letting him go somewhere else and we could do it together? Does that make sense? Yeah. But I think we just work. See, to be honest, Scott, a lot of times we think the same anyway. And if we've obviously got a good coach here, Owen Artsdeacon as well, who if we need another, if we need another opinion, Owen's massively involved, but it works. I think we would have knew early on if it wasn't going to work, Scott. And me and Sean's big enough and ugly enough to say this isn't working. But there's no issues with being joint managers. It's the two is basically think to make the same decision 9 times out of 10 anyway.
Yeah, definitely. What was your kind of days like at Greenock as well? You must kind of look back with a lot of pride. Obviously, your kind of hometown club as well. It's a lot of good memories at Greenock. We
really enjoyed it. It was a club with financial and stuff. You couldn't go out and buy players, so it's who you knew and kind of tapping into local amateur scene and stuff and having decent contacts. But it would be good times there. Probably punched above our weight if I'm being honest. But listen, I always say that it's the players that gets managers' jobs. I had to credit the boys at Gourock for getting me a Greenock job, and the boys at Greenock helped us get a Kilbirnie job, because once you cross that line, you just need to get them to play for you, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's some step, obviously, going from amateur to junior, as you know, but obviously you've done it really well. John, obviously you kind of took the step for going to Morton to Kilbirnie. Like, was there other clubs kind of looking at you when you left Morton, and how did it end up you went to Kilbirnie?
There was a few teams, and do you know what? I had went on holiday, and I was at one of these stages. I was just going, I don't even know if I play football, and it was just for whatever reason it was in my head, and then. It was actually Budgie McGee that was the manager. He'd just taken over, I think, at Kilbirnie. and he had gave us a phone and just said, "Do you want to come down?" But the gaffer says there, I didn't know much about the junior game at that time, and I just went, you know what, I'll go down and see how it is. And for the first day, loved it, and I've no looked back since, to be honest.
And what's been your kind of highlights of playing for Kilbirnie? You've been there a while now, haven't you? Like, I think it's about 4 years, isn't it?
4 or 5 years now, I think. So I keep forgetting, see, because that's COVID year, I can't even remember how many years it is. I think it's 4 or 5. But I know some brilliant. I mean, the first year, I think we might have finished 4th or 5th. The first year under budget, and then the year after, obviously, I think they ended up leaving halfway through that season. And one of our players now, Liam McGuinness, Ginto, I think he took over, but saved we had 10 games, I think, to save us for relegation that year, and managed to do it. So that was brilliant. I loved that day. We played Cambuslang, I think it was, away in the second last day, and managed to stay up, which was brilliant.
Brilliant. Right, we're going to put you both on the spot. We've got a wee quick fire round. What we do is we give Tommy the manager quick fire questions, and John, you get the teammate questions. So we'll start with Tommy. You ready to get put in the spot here?
On you go.
Right. First of all, Gerrard or Postecoglou?
And all day, every day.
Antonio Conte, success, yes or no?
Yes.
Favourite other sport?
Golf.
Snooker.
Best player played with?
Oh, with. Oh. I'll probably, I played with a couple of big names in one-half games, but regularly, Stuart Keane probably coming through it there.
Very good. Who's the worst?
Sean Darren.
Best player played against?
Probably Liam Muller, who's sadly passed away now at Celtic. McFadden. Aye, Muller.
Very good. You can sign 3 players from your rivals in the Premier Division. Who would they be?
Oh. I'll go Big Nicky Little. He's a Greenock boy. So Big Nicky, Clydebank. Like your boy Ford at Pollock. Adam Ford at Pollock, probably. Big Leishman at Auckland. That's nothing against our goalkeepers, but I'm not going to hear the end of that one, by the way. I'll go Nicky Little, Adam Ford.
2 strikers, I know, man. Got it.
I know, Scully. You can play in the middle to me, man. Do you know who was really good against us this season? I wasn't familiar with my boy at Irvine Meadow, the captain. Is it McLennan?
Mark McLennan, yeah.
Aye,
I thought he was excellent against us this season, so I'll go with him. So because we've got about 6 centre mid, so somebody will moan.
Best character you've met in football?
Willie McClure, ex-Largs.
Okay. Best dressing room story?
Probably involving him again. I think I said this on another one I was on last year with Willie. I'll keep it very quick, Scott. So, our assistant at Largs, Pat McAvoy, he loved his dogs and stuff. He never had any kids, so his dogs were his life. And on the back of his notepad was a picture of his dogs. So, Willie McClure, I know kids watch this, I need to watch what I'm saying. Willie McClure done something that he shouldn't have done behind Pat's back during the half-time team talk. And I've sniggered, and Pat's away diagonal across from me in the changing room and launched his book with dogs on it. Right here, it's something me hooked at half time, got in the effing shower. If Wayne's one they watching your programme, I would get into more detail, but we'll leave that one at that.
Brilliant. Win the league or win the Scottish Cup? What would you rather do?
I think our club, the committee and stuff, would say Scottish Cup for a 3rd time, so I'll stick with that, Scottish.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Favourite manager in the league?
Kilbirnie's league?
Aye. Who do you enjoy sharing a glass of wine with after the game?
I'll probably say my pal who I played with, James Latta, Irvine Meadow.
Very good.
Played
Best memory in football?
Probably making my first team debut at Erwin. My dad, who's no longer with me, coming down and seeing that after taking me here and everywhere over the years. Or do you remember the old BP Youth Cup? It basically
I've heard them talk about it.
Playing the final of that against Rangers and was lucky to get man of the match. So probably him too.
Brilliant. Right, John, it's your turn to get put on the spot. We're going to ask you some teammates questions, but obviously Tommy can chip in if he agrees or disagrees with your answers. Are you ready?
Yep.
Who's the best trainer at Kilbirnie?
Best trainer? Maybe, best trainer? I can tell you who it's no.
That's the next question.
All right, well, I'll leave that. Maybe go...
One of the older ones, maybe, Scully?
Aye.
Yeah, Muri.
Maybe Muri, aye. Probably Muri I'd go for, aye.
So we're going for Muri for the best. Who's the worst?
Aye. Brendan Sharp, man. Apart from last night in the running, but Brendan.
He was flying last night.
Aye.
Who's the team hard man? Or who thinks he is?
I would go Big Muff, probably. Big Muff's a hard man.
Aye, I'll go with that.
Aye.
Most skillful?
Aye, wee man, all day.
Aye. Me or McWaters, I'd go.
Who's the quickest player?
Aye, Johnny Gallagher. Rapid.
Wee Ross Taylor's got a bit about him as well with two young full wing-backs.
Two young ones, aye, are dead quick.
Johnny's lightning when he gets going.
Who's the slowest?
Oh no, Jake Kelly's slowing me.
John Kelly, that distance.
I used to be.
Who's got the best haircut?
No, John right now anyway.
No, that is terrible.
Best haircut?
Best haircut? Danny Bamford, maybe? Don't know. It's a hard one.
Who's got the worst?
John Kelly again. For me.
Aye, John's up there. Don't know what's going on with Murray's, by the way, either.
Aye, Murray looks different every week I see him.
Aye, I don't know if he's just holding something together up there or...
He's gluing it on, isn't he?
Aye, something's going on there.
Best character in the dressing room?
Big Joe's up there, we're going.
Aye, Joe, Kyle and Corey, since I travel with them.
Corey?
Aye, good laugh.
I've got that. Big Joe.
Kyle's definitely up there.
Kyle, 100%. John Kelly for me as well, funny boy.
Aye.
It's
a good group of boys.
Worst dress sense?
Well, just throw McWaters under the bus for this one, John, even though we've not seen him.
Well, when our team night out, to get voted worst dressed and all, so there you go, McWaters.
I'll stick with that as well.
Final question, who's the teacher's pet? Who sucks up the two managers?
It could be McWaters again, by the way, here. Don't want to throw him under. But it could be. Aye, going to go with McWaters.
I'll throw McGuinness under the bus. Him and Shawnee are like that.
Aye, true. Aye, you're right.
Me, that's all you get out of him too. Remember we were at Kilmarnock and
I know, aye, Kilmarnock. That's aye, you're right.
Shawnee goes and picks McGinn, Liam up for the home games, and I think he stays 2 minutes for the park. He drops me off and then goes and picks Liam up. With a bottle of Lucozade for him.
Aye.
Brilliant. Right, if you've seen the show before, you know we get our resources and we get some information on you, we get some things to ask you, and we've not been disappointed here. There's a few good things. First things first, this is from your friend here, Tommy. Ask Tommy about the time he put his foot through the boombox after a derby defeat.
Aye. That was part 3 against the Port, obviously, when I was a Greenock manager, so we lost an injury time goal, and I went in after the game, and it just happened to be there. But I put my foot through, and the worst thing about it was I'm still trying to shout and ball after that, and the smoke and everything's coming out of the box, and aye. So that was that.
Ask Tommy about Lanark away at half-time in the dressing room.
It's going to end up sounding like a psychopath here, but that was another one where I think we were winning. I think we were winning or drawing, and we're boys against along the treatment table, and I went in and put it up in there, and boys had sandwiches and tomatoes sitting in their head while I'm still trying to go mental. And I think one of the boys over to the left, Sean, had me, not Sean down, another boy, Sean, had mayonnaise all over his face, and I'm trying to shout at him, and he's fucking feet to blink with mayonnaise all over his face. So that was that one.
You could ask Tommy how he thinks his debut was in our last man standing competition.
At Kilbirnie?
Aye, it seems to be.
I've shambles. I think I was out in the second week. Aye.
Brilliant. John, we've not forgot about you. There's a few good ones here. First things first. Ask Tommy about Atomic Kitten Hole Again.
That's Scully's song at the fan singers, I guess.
I've not got a clue about that one.
Honestly, it says here, they play it as introduction and you like to sing along to it if you're ever on the bench.
Never heard that one. Somebody's at the wind-up here.
Tommy, are you any good at FIFA and have you ever been beaten by Nicky Lowe?
Oh, my God. That's 3 stories it's going to make me look. So that's my good mate. We were playing it in this living room actually about a year ago. You couldn't have wrote us, to be honest with you. So Nicky's beat me and I've bounced the remote control pad off the ground and it's through the middle of my TV. My missus has come down, obviously going her dinger and get took into Tesco at night to buy another TV.
We've got another one for you, Tommy. Ask Tommy about the time he pretended to be a Daily Record reporter phoning Wigzer about a 5-minute preview.
Oh, that was a young goalie at Greenock, number 3 we had. He's a Kilbirnie fan. He's from Kilbirnie. He was at a game on Saturday. I met him. So he made his debut on Saturday and I phoned him the next day, kidding on him as a reporter. 10-minute phone call, he fell for it. I had him wishing people happy birthday and blah, blah, blah. So that was Sean. He's not the brightest.
Brilliant. We've got a few here for you, John, as well.
Right.
Just give me a wee second. Ask him about what was going through his head when he bought his running trainers.
Aye. See, this is just came for last night. There's a few boys trying to slag us here. Just because I've got sold knees now, I have to wear horrible running trainers with big soles. But you should see some of the trainers they turn up in big Kyles. I know, man. Looks like he's had them for about 4 years.
Swan, have you ever wrote off a car?
Aye. I done it about 3 months ago, man. Went to save a bag that had nothing valuable in it. Falling off a chair, ended up nearly in someone's boot. Not the best.
Ask John about his free kick against Cumnock.
He's
kidding on, he can't remember.
Aye, no, I've got a few against Cumnock, know what I mean? I have to think about one. Aye, no, I think I know the one. I mean, I think it's the one Gordon Ronnie got on his phone.
It would have been because he sent me today.
Aye, I was just one of the ones. It was it just happened to be perfect, and I've reversed it, and the keepers had no chance. Nice one when they go in.
Brilliant. This is one for Sean actually, but you can both answer this. How many times a day does Sean Dillon mention that he was in vigil?
I don't even know what that is.
The programme at Martindon, Constant.
Oh, right, aye.
Between that and his young player of the month and his Scotland 21's call up.
I've heard it about 6 times.
Scott, when we get a job up at Cumbernauld, the first game, I think I heard them telling about 3 or 4 players going out for the warm-up to get Scotland 21 caps. First time he'd ever met him.
First 3 sentences he told me he played against Larson.
Aye, so... And by the time this gets aired as well, by the way, he's missed training this week, isn't he, man? I've been doing the centre parts in a jolly, so...
I know, not good enough.
Nope. We've got a few serious questions here as well. We've got one for Tommy Griffin. Is there an acceptance in the club about the current position, or is there a genuine belief you can claw your way back? You've kind of answered this, but obviously, that is obviously the target this year, just to beat the drop. It's obviously unfortunate with 7 teams going down, obviously, with the situation, but that is the kind of end game. And that's the target for this season, is just to stay in the league.
Yeah, take that right now. If you asked us to go and play a one-half game, the last game of the season, to stay up, we'll bite at your hand off now for that. But it's not over. So I know Scully could only speak behalf of players, but all us in the changing room believe it's still possible anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Scully, where do you see yourself at the end of the season? How much are you enjoying your time at Kilbirnie as well?
I love it at Colburn. Obviously, I wouldn't have been here for 4 or 5 years if I didn't like it. And what as Tommy says there, it's just obviously we'd love to stay up. That's obviously the aim for us. And I think obviously if you get a few wins on the bounce or whatever, that's what I see us doing. So that's what I'm hoping to be at the end of the season.
Who is the best player you've ever played with, John?
Ever played with? I've got a few. Always liked playing with Michael Tidser at Morton, but absolutely loved playing with Davy Anderson at Kilbirnie. Just a phenomenal football player. Incredible.
What is your favourite dressing room story?
Favourite dressing room story? Oof, on the spot there. Don't know, there's a few I couldn't tell about the boy Chrissy Craig. It was here last year. He was brilliant, man, but I don't know if I could tell any of them, mind you. Same as the gaffers last couple. I don't know, I can't remember, I don't know. Too many.
Brilliant. We've got one for Tommy. What are your thoughts on your old club, Greenock, and do you still keep an eye on the results?
Aye, stay 5 minutes for the park and still keep in touch with some of the boys and stuff. So first score I look for probably after Celtic this Saturday. So still keep an eye on how they're doing, and they've still got a wee sniffer going up this season in the second, third and fourth place, Scott. So only get good things to say about him.
Brilliant. What is your thoughts in the current situation with the Highland and Lowland League? Now, I'm assuming what that means is obviously the situation where a team can come down from League Two and kind of choose what league they play in. Do you think that could have an effect on the clubs in the West going forward, Tommy?
I didn't know anything about that, to be honest. Scully, can you answer that one?
No, but I didn't know it either, to be honest with you. But I don't. So does that mean that if you come down for League Two, then you get to choose?
Aye. So there's not going to be a boundary. So basically, as daft as it sounds, like Elgin could play in the Lowland League, or Annan could go Highland. Like there's not going to be a boundary. Obviously, that will have an effect on clubs if they want.
Well, it will, because you're going to pick the easiest league to go into.
Aye.
So you're exactly. So Auchinleck could go and play in the South of Scotland League for a year.
Aye, pretty much. If they come back down for the Lowland, aye.
Right.
It's not right, is it, really, to be honest with you?
Nah, it's a bit weird. It's
a strange one, that.
Nah, definitely. But we'll talk about what's coming up for Kilbirnie. Obviously, you've got a big game, obviously, on Saturday away to Glenafton. How confident are you, Tommy, that's a difficult place to go, obviously, and you've come, like, how big a game could that be?
It's massive. Honestly, it's absolutely huge. I know they're going quite well, but we've got to go and win the game. We've trained well last night, and we'll obviously be back in tomorrow night, Thursday. We're looking forward to going down there as well. I know we'll bring a good support. To be fair to the players and the management, we've kind of paid for the supporters bus to come down this week just out of a bit of loyalty for what they've shown us in that last few weeks. So listen, we need to get down there and win. I know it'll be tough. You need to go to places again after and fight for anything you leave with. So be a right tough one, but the bottom line is we can talk all day, but we need to win the game.
Yeah, definitely. John, what's your thoughts on Saturday, big game?
Aye, crucial. You need to be winning, as we said earlier. You need to be winning against teams that are running. I know maybe no right run about you, but you need to be winning games. And if you want to climb the table, you need to go to these places and get results. So definitely need a big game Saturday.
Obviously, you've got a run up until Christmas that includes home games against Cumnock and Blantyre, away to Bonnet as well. Tommy, they are massive games. That could be a wee catalyst to start a wee run if you do well in these games.
They're huge. Honestly, I can't stress enough to anybody I speak to how big they are. The players are probably getting bored of me already talking about how big November, the start of December is. But listen, you don't want to go into a break at Christmas where people already wrote you off completely. We need to be getting into that break where we're saying, right, we're still way packing. We've got an opportunity. You touched on it earlier, Scott. It's a unique season with 6, possibly 7 going down. It's honestly, in my heart of hearts, it's still possible to keep the club up. And we don't want to be in a championship next year. I would hope that if the worst came to the very worst, the club would stand by us and let us kind of get winning players and stuff in. But we're not even thinking of doing that road. I firmly believe in. I think I've been in the game well enough to know that if I knew we never had a chance and the players haven't get our back, then I would be first to say it. But we're still in with a right fighting chance.
Yeah, definitely. How big is the next couple of months in the dressing room? Do the boys know, John, how big this kind of run could be to keep yourselves in the league?
I know, definitely the boys understand fully what's expected of us and what we need to do to get ourselves out of this. But obviously, we can sit here and say whatever we want. It's down to when the game kicks off on a Saturday, and then we have to go out there and do it.
Yeah, definitely. But we can only wish you both the very best, and obviously the club as a whole. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on.
Yes.
Thank you very much for doing it.
Scott, thanks,
cheers,
mate. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
to everyone who's tuned in. Please subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels and follow us on social media. Thanks very much for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Thanks, Scott.